Hey everyone, welcome back to the Stay On Your Bike podcast. As you can see this week we've got guests in the studio. And I think this is going to be a cool one with two local valley legends, kind of. Not really from the valley, are you? But you're the two fastest fellas in the valley. So we've got Will Brodie and Corey Watson. So hope you enjoy. Right lads, so first of all we'll start off with your trip so far to the EDRs. William, you're currently ranked 4th in the world.
Yeah, pretty mental.
It's pretty cool, pretty mental. Did you was that the goal this year you thought you'd be anywhere near that top 5?
Nah, not at all really. I was kind of just going in there like no expectations, first year elite, just being like, if I can keep in the top 30, I'll be happy. So I mean, the first round, I remember getting ready to line up, and I was just like, well, what happens. Like, if I do well, I do well. If I don't do well, it's fine at the end of the day. And I just dropped in and just currently sitting 4th, so it's pretty insane. Yeah.
Pretty mad. And Corey, obviously you came off a flipping mega result last year at World Champs. You know, I've been following you boys at the races and watching the feed and stuff, and you were not far off the podium at World Champs last year. Do you think that's motivated William to step his game up this year?
Maybe. He's not said, but yeah, that was pretty cool last year. Like, just going into the off season, I got a bit of confidence. It made the off season feel quite long.
Yeah.
But it was just nice knowing that I can be up there.
Yeah.
And that was cool. It made my winter pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then, like, going into the first round, I had quite high expectations because of that result. But the race was in Pietra as well, which I struggle at.
Yeah. So
I was a bit nervous for it. Because in the past, I don't even think I've been in like the top 50 in Pietra. And I don't know if others and myself were wanting to like be in the top 10 again.
Mm-hmm.
But I finished 17th at the first round, which
still
I was buzzing with that there.
Yeah.
Because that was a big week of racing.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say that's my forte, like a lot of pedalling and just like big days on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
So I was buzzing with that. Like top 20 of the first round, that's good.
Yeah, mega. And if obviously, I've been, you were on the team a few years ago, and I was always watching you, Will, and you're super fast around here, and you obviously got the talent to do it. What has anything changed this year? Because in the past, you had lots of mechanicals and things going wrong, and you've always had the speed and the potential. But has anything changed this year for you to get the results, or is it just a confidence thing?
Yeah, I feel like I was motivated quite highly this year, going into the winter, especially Corey did well the year before. You're always around, or we'll work together or ride together. It's just like you want to kind of beat them in a friendly way, but so I was pretty motivated. But I think I got the bike really early, and I'm really enjoying the bike at the minute.
Okay.
And it's like in the past I've kind of thought like people just complain about bikes if someone's not right. Where like this year I was like, I got the bike early and I could actually like do testing on it and get comfortable. So I came in like way comfortable in any other year, and just kind of not doing silly stuff, crashing all the time. So, yeah.
And you're on a stumpy this year.
Yeah. I'm 15. Yeah.
Were you still on the Enduro last year, or?
I was on the old stump jumper.
And so is this one?
Yeah, it's a new
improved
model.
a lot?
I would say so. Yeah, it feels a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's easier to push on, and rides a lot better. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And you're on the newer Scott. You were halfway through the year last year on that.
Yeah, I changed. Yeah, it was like before the last 3 rounds, but that's when my results just went up. And I'm stoked on that bike as well. It's I'm enjoying riding it.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of bikes are good nowadays, but if you're comfortable on your own bike and you believe in your own bike, I think it just helps, doesn't it, mentally as well as performance wise.
Yeah.
And what's the the EDR's been like this year? Are they the same as last year? Has anything changed? Has the organisation got better, worse? What's your feelings on the whole thing?
I think it's been good this year, like the racing. I feel like they're trying to like improve it, and I feel like they're taking feedback from the riders, and like even just what they're doing on like social media and that. I feel like they're pumping it out more.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been good this year.
Yeah.
A lot of travelling, like the
crazy.
in between venues, but I don't know if there's a reason for that or something just didn't work out. But
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
that's the only thing that I've noticed this
been
year.
sort of backwards and forwards right across Europe, haven't we?
Yeah,
I think same with the downhill guys. They're in Val di Sole this week, so that's I guess when I used to run the team, I used to look at the schedule and think, why have they done that? But I imagine it comes down to like resorts can only do it on a certain weekend
time.
And that kind of thing. But don't know, it would, especially nowadays, with how expensive everything is to get to the races, you'd hope that they try and make it a bit more easy for everyone. You guys are still sort of privateering it. You're not like factory team at the moment. What's the vibe at the races? Because from when you're not at the races, it looks like, especially the industry is really focusing on the downhill teams and the cross country teams, and it looks from the outside that Enduro's taking a bit of a backward step. Like if I don't know, we'll get onto that in a bit, Will. But if you were lying, fourth in the Enduro World Series, probably I don't know 3 or 4 years ago, there'd be factory teams, ringing you up every 5 minutes. Is the team? Has the teams at the Enduro got smaller than it was, say, 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, definitely. Like the car park's like half the size probably than what it used to be. And there's only like a few easy ups, but I feel like everyone's now got their own program in a way.
Right.
Like Greg's program looks pretty good,
and
he's doing his own thing where he's got his own mechanic, own filmer, and it's probably almost a better setup than having a team because it's like only for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely not the same as what it used to be, I would say.
Right.
But the fan wise, and when you're on trail, like Poland was insane.
Well, good Poland,
the people that are there, and they had a good expo as well there, with like stalls and stuff. So it's cool when you've got that. Because I mean, when we're in racing the Tweed Valley, it was insane when they had all the stalls and stuff. It brings such an atmosphere to the race.
Yeah.
Where I feel like it's kind of lacking a little in certain venues. Yeah. But I mean, it's going well, and I mean, it's kind of bad where everyone's like, in the last few years, just been like so negative on it because it doesn't help at all.
No,
but
I get that.
Yeah, it definitely could. There's improvements to be made.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the answers, but it reminds me a little bit of like back years ago when I was more involved in racing myself, and just after that, like at the World Cups, it used to be like the downhill and the dual was kind of like nearly as big or as important as the downhill. There was riders specialising on dual, getting paid big salaries, and then it changed to four cross, and there were still riders on salaries just to race four cross. Like good salaries, and then all of a sudden, it got like a negative vibe in the four cross, and then all of a sudden the UCI dropped the four cross, as if it was kind of as if it was everyone was just listening to these negative vibes, and that's what I was a little bit worried about for you guys when that was kind of getting spread around with the Enduro. But you think that they're fully behind it, do you, with Warner Brothers, and they're going to try and push it forward, do you think?
Yeah, like behind the scenes, like Alan now has taken over. I don't know if you know Alan, but he's really involved a lot more with the riders. It feels like they want to know what like everyone's feedback a lot more of the riders and stuff, and they're asking questions, and like all the filmers and stuff are really keen to do it. And So I think behind the scenes of like Warner Brothers, their intentions are real good now.
Okay, cool.
And hopefully this new series is going to be good that they've got out.
Yeah.
The Grit and Glory series. So yeah, I think I think the intentions there
Good.
in a minute, which is good to see. Yeah.
Well, that's good. And is that feeding back to? I know the industry's struggling a little bit at the moment, just with all the bike sales, and then obviously that budgets, from companies are not there that that they were, say, a few years ago. But is there any talks on any sort of? Is there many rides available for the enduro at the moment?
To be honest, not that hard. I don't know.
Not that I've heard.
The last few years, it's like less and less rides are coming available, and it is mainly to do your own programs, maybe the way to go. But yeah, I've not heard anything, and it's like, I mean, like you said before, it's like if you're sitting in the World 3-4 a year ago, you'd get people like coming straight away, and you maybe get picked up halfway through a year even. But I mean, like, I've not had a single word yet. No,
that's really sad.
Yeah.
Come on, industry, you need to step your game up here. And so, yeah, because if you were sat fourth in the downhill, there'd be people trying to get you on the team.
For sure,
and stuff, for sure. And yeah, I'm not. That's no, disrespect to you and enduro. You're fourth in the world at enduro currently, and that's incredible. So you deserve to be on a good program and getting paid and support and stuff. And come in your position, you came at world champs and 17th at the first round. If someone comes 17th at the first round in downhill, it's like, whoa, it's a big thing, So that's something that needs to hopefully improve. And some of the enduro riders, that were established, like Richie, for instance, he did the first round and then he's moved over to the downhill. Have you spoke to many of the riders that have done that, and have they discussed that at all?
No, I've not really spoke to anyone that's done that, or like there is a few people like mixing it up this year, like Rideau and stuff. Like he's doing a few world rounds, but then doing like other events as well. I'm not fully sure the reason behind that, but I don't know. I've not really spoke to many people about it.
Sure.
I've just been doing my own thing.
Yeah, you gotta focus on what you're doing yourselves. And support wise, you're kind of supported by Scott UK, and you specialise UK. Have they been in touch since results and stuff?
Kinda, not really. Well, yeah, I mean, they have a little. I wouldn't say fully in touch, but I mean, they help out when they can. I think they do everything they can for a UK standpoint.
Yeah.
Of course, like, it would be nice to you get more support, but I mean, you can only play with the cards you're dealt, can't you? So
yeah,
you just all here crying about
No.
not got the same support. But I mean, I can only deal with the cards I've been dealt. But yeah, I think at the moment it's I'm just enjoying it, having fun. So just try and keep on doing the same thing.
Yeah, I guess obviously when you ride for a factory team, sometimes comes with maybe even you put that pressure on yourself, but there's a bit of added pressure, isn't there? Because you as a person you kind of think, right, well, I've got to perform for these people that are, even though that's a lot of the time not the case, they're just there to support you in what you're doing, and everyone wants you to do well anyway. But I guess that's similar to Dan Booker, who was your teammate. He's doing amazing, and he's on his own program as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
So how many people do you think at the moment are left at the races that are on a full factory program still? Because Yeti team.
Yeti team.
Yeti team, Lapierre team.
Yeah.
YT.
They've still got a full setup, haven't they?
Simple.
I think it's maybe smaller than what it used to be. Simpleton, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably at least 10-15 riders.
Yeah.
Total.
Do Common South still have a pretty big set up there or not?
No, they
I've not
don't.
seen it. No.
No.
I think Rideau just has his own little
Right.
setup.
Right.
And Din rides Commerce Hall as well. I don't know. I've not seen a pit.
No.
Like when you're in the pit, there's not a lot of tents.
No.
So maybe only 5 teams really, 5, 6.
And when you recently raced at Ludenville, is the downhill still in a separate area to where the finish is for the enduro?
Yeah.
So they haven't kind of combined it.
Nah, they haven't. And then also then you get the people that are like Jack and stuff that are part of the downhill team, so they'll pit in the downhill team. So that's one less.
So they're not even in
so that's one less gazebo in the thing. So there's only like 2-3 gazebos sitting there. So yeah, it's not quite the same when it's a downhill and an enduro weekend. And I feel like slightly we get overshadowed a little as well. It's cool being around everyone, but you do get that overshadow, like
you
from
feel
the
like
downhill,
they're the main show, and you're kind of that's how I saw it when I was last there, which is a shame. And so far this year, what would you say has been the best event out of the 4 that you've done? Is there one particular one, or are they all pretty similar?
Pietro was really cool. Obviously the new format, the big 4 days back to back, 2 days racing, 2 days practice was cool. I've never done anything like that, so this is the first time I've done something like that, and it was just big. It was like you feel like you're doing proper enduro then. You're out in like no man's land very much, just like in the sticks, just hiking your bike up a hill, and once you're done the day you feel like you properly completed a day. So that's cool. Obviously Poland's insane with the fans and stuff. You're riding down, it's just like I couldn't even see where I was going. It's just like it is mental. Yeah, it's the best feeling for sure. I think Ludenfeld's probably my favourite track wise. Yeah. Tracks are amazing there. And then we go to Leogang. And Leogang is a strange setup because you go over to a different valley. Yeah. And then the downhill's there as well, and it is quite overshadowed a little, but I think they dealt with it quite well putting us on the Sunday. Yeah. It brought a lot of fans over to be able to watch the race, even though it was bad weather.
There's still quite a few people out,
in the finish area was probably the busiest I've seen it as well. So, I mean, people seem to be keen on it now, and they're quite excited for the enduro to watch it and stuff, so yeah, I think it was good.
Yeah, because a few years ago when I was there, I think he's raced, what was it, Thursday evening? It was literally
like
no
8
one
o'clock at night.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It was way better this year, the setup. It's better vibe and atmosphere at the bottom.
Cool. And I think you boys threw some pretty solid whips to compete with the downhill boys, I reckon.
No, I cased it. You just can't see it in the video. No, it was pretty cool. I think that's a cool finish, like getting into a big jump.
Yeah, definitely.
Because us enduro riders, we don't really get many jumps, so it's pretty sick.
Yeah. Cool. And obviously, on your side, Will, as Specialized still got kind of a factory team, because it's a privately owned enduro team, I think. But it's kind of the Specialized factory team.
It's just Charlie pretty much is the only rider, and I think it's more or less his own program.
Is it?
In a way, similar to Greg, but it is a Specialized enduro team.
Okay, so it's not like the team, because I think it was a few years back. It was like a French-owned team, and he rode for them.
Yeah,
is it not like that now?
I think Laurent still maybe owns it.
Right.
Still has a part in it to play. And Winnie's there, kind of Charlie's brought her on. So Charlie's been like, oh, Winnie's obviously an insane rider, can we give her a bit more support of the races and stuff and just travel and stuff. So Winnie's obviously travelling with her, and it's working out because she's doing insane. So yeah.
And there's been no talks of like, because in the past, if in certain teams I've seen, if you were kind of like, rode for your country but for Specialized, because it's such a big brand, they've not like thought, oh, maybe we could bring you over to that program.
Yeah, I mean Charlie's offered to help like loads.
Yeah.
Any spares or any stuff, but I mean he's only limited to what he can.
Yeah.
And he's not got the massive programs like what they have in the past, so it would have been easier in the past, I think, to just add me on. But this year it's obviously it's a smaller setup, so
fair enough,
I
yeah.
think maybe that's why. But I mean, Charlie's like an amazing person.
Oh, he's a
so
sound dude.
yeah, he's offered to help
Yeah.
loads when he can. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And so what at the minute you're Stumpy? What's that? 150 or 160?
160 front and 145 here, so it's not the biggest bike at all now. But it almost feels more than previous years.
Okay.
Which is good. And I mean, you do notice it definitely if you have rough section.
Yeah.
You are like, oh, I'm quite under a bite here, but you kind of just muscle your way through it.
Yeah.
And it pedals great, and I mean, the way some of the tracks I've gone recently, they are a bit more like longer and physical than previous years. So having a big bike can be quite a slog.
Yeah.
In a way, so. I mean, the bike handles itself great, so yeah, I've not had any trouble so far. And after Leogang, it's probably one of the gnarliest rounds we have.
Yeah.
And it worked out.
You won a stage there.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
And that was probably like the fastest trail as well, like
Right.
bike park track, yeah.
So it just shows, doesn't it?
Mm.
And then you're on a what, 170?
170, yeah.
But yours felt better than when you were on the shorter travel bike.
Yeah,
So it's
like, it is funny how it works, because in like previous years I've always went for the shorter travel option.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the biggest or heaviest, and I've always struggled with paddling and paddly stages. But I've not really felt any like naggies being on a bigger bike.
Yeah.
And it feels better on the rough stuff, so
Yeah.
I'll be stuck with that.
Yeah, I guess you know, you can't just go off the amount of travel, can you? Like
No.
one brand might have, they might just got that bike working really good in a certain travel range and vice versa. You know.
Yeah.
I think, you know, for me, especially living here, the biggest difference, like pedalling up the hill for energy wise, is more your tyres over your.
Yeah.
If you've got 30 mil more travel, you know.
Yeah.
As long as the bikes, and typically a longer travel bike isn't way more heavier, is it? You know, these days.
No, not at all.
So you're carrying on with the series.
Yeah.
You've got to, even if you.
Yeah, I think so. The plan was only do the first three, obviously. And then that turns into, I think doing the full season now, because I'm actually doing pretty decent, so.
Pretty decent's an understatement.
Yeah, so I think we'll carry on and just hopefully try to keep the momentum going, I think, yeah.
Well, you've been super consistent, right?
Yeah, which is good,
Yeah.
I obviously did well the first round, and I was like, nervous for the second one. I was like, we need to try and back
Keep
it up
going.
again, keep going, and then another top 10, and then again, I've just been kind of building, so it's cool, because you definitely, like, some days you don't feel on it, and especially like Leogang, the start of the day I was just like in a half crashed first stage, and I was like, oh, I'm doing terrible, I'm not doing good, didn't look at the times at all, and then I started like building up a bit more, and I was like, oh, I feel more like myself now, and then seeing the times at the end of the day, and I was like stoked to actually be able to turn it around and get good stages.
Brilliant, yeah. And have you is your crew of fans that sing your song on the podium?
Nah.
Are they following you around the world yet, or?
Nah, not the.
Not
I mean,
yet.
it's funny when you come to inners and race, because everyone's obviously know a lot of people that live here, so they all come out and cheer, but not quite.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Waiting
there's
for
a
you
few
to be on the
people.
podium.
Maybe, hopefully anyway. But
Cool. Because I mean, I remember Greg Minnar had a load of friends from where he lived, and they really supported him and used to follow him around the world and stuff. So just wondering if that was the case, but cool. And so, are you gonna go to Worlds though? Even though you're gonna skip the next few rounds and go to Whistler, you were saying.
My plan is to skip the next two world rounds and just do some racing in the UK and like save a bit of money, go to Whistler, because I was wanting to try and do like new stuff this year and go different places where I've not been. So the plan is to go up to Whistler, and I'll do like the Crankworks Enduro, and then I'll want to come home before the last World Cup in France at the end of August. So if I get picked for World as well, that can just be one trip out to France to the World Cup and then go to Worlds.
So Worlds is at?
It's It's in Switzerland.
Yeah, I'll show something I can't even pronounce.
The
Like
place where you
Bell-
were
It's a
last year.
big glacier, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a good venue?
It's
My
it's
favourite.
pretty gnarly.
Is
It's
it
high
Scary,
up.
yeah, real scary.
Like high speed, rocky stuff. Like,
Yeah, it's just
Very,
like
like-
imagine you go up north of Scotland and you're just kind of bombing down
Like hiking
paths.
yeah,
Similar vibe to that. And
Yeah.
the altitude's crazy.
yeah.
You're
Yeah,
high
because you're
up.
obviously so high up. And then the first stage last year, I had like probably a 2-minute uphill pedaling
So
it.
that,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
definitely not the funnest, but
yeah.
I quite enjoyed it last year though. Like it felt different to all the other venues. Like it was proper rocky and just
Yeah,
it was cool actually. Like feeling like you're on a hiking path.
different.
Yeah, it just felt
altogether, yeah.
different altogether. So
Did you go to? You didn't come to Zermatt, did you, when we went
No.
there? Because I
No.
remember that being like similar to what you're explaining, like
Yeah.
high speed, rocky stuff, and
yeah,
they had a couple of more man-made trails, but there was definitely some big high mountain
Yeah.
walking path type stages, which is it's a lot different to here, isn't it? You know?
yeah.
sure, yeah.
And the French World Cup round where's that this year then?
It's in some new venue. It's pretty close to Morzine, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of it.
Nah, neither.
But
Yeah, I
that's
think
going
it's
to be
just
a
a hill one.
four-day race as
Oh.
well.
So what do you? I know you said you liked it. Well, what do you prefer? Do you like the? I mean, there's liking what you're doing, and there's what's good for the racing and the sport. And like you said, like here, when we raced in Ireland, and from what you've said in Poland, if you've got shorter kind of stages all in one area, then you
Yeah.
get the crowds and the
Yeah.
atmosphere, and like if you've got the trade coming to the race, that's always it's going to be good for the sport and you guys and
Yeah.
sponsorship. But then, you know, if you've got a massive, 15-minute stage up in the mountains, you're not going to get a lot of people up there cheering you on, are you? What would you prefer to race on, and what do you think's best?
It is a hard one, but I think the shorter, like tighter venues are better for spectators, like you said. And as a rider, I'm better at the shorter, more downhilly stages. But like, Pietra was so sick. I
Yeah.
thought it was such a rewarding feeling after that race.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that race, like being 4 days, just big days on the bike. But I think spectator wise, probably a smaller, shorter venue does help.
Yeah.
It's cool having like everything though. Like
Yeah.
obviously the short venues, the long venues, the
Yeah.
bike park venues. Because it is like enduro is like kind of
Like,
purest form of mountain bike, and you think of mountain bike and it is like enduro is it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
obviously cool having everything. And like personally, I would prefer maybe short stuff because I think we're just used to that, aren't we?
Yeah.
And coming from more of a downhill background, it's like
Mm.
I think the short stuff would be good. I'd love to see the pro stage come back, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I think it builds a cool atmosphere the
Yeah.
day before.
Yeah.
Like if the pro stage was there and say Corey turned up and then did insane on the first day of the pro stage and people don't know, they're going to see, oh, who's this Corey Watson guy?
Yeah, yeah.
We'll look into it and then they're really keen for the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it makes a bit more exciting. Which the 2-day racing is kind of like that,
Mm.
but yeah. Then you're like, oh, it's too maybe downhilly, but I don't know. There's ways to go about it, isn't there? So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it is good having a variety, I guess.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants different things.
Yeah.
Like some boys love the big missions, like the 4 days.
Yeah.
But I don't mind the wee gondola 1,000-meter pathway.
Yeah.
It's
like 7,000-meter path.
Yeah. like 5 downhill stages.
Well, I mean, that's why it's a world championship, though, isn't it? The world
Yeah.
champion's world champion for a reason, aren't
Yeah.
they? If they
Yeah.
can do
Just-
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good at it all.
Yeah, definitely. And so, have you boys changed your training up? Have you got you on a program, or how do you go about your training and prep for all these different venues and stages?
I can go. I've just kind of been doing the same thing for the last few years. I'm getting help from a local lad now in Hawick, like an ex-motocrosser with gym stuff.
Right.
and that felt good just to mix it up a bit and
Mhm.
keep it fresh. And then I don't do loads on the bike, which I feel like I need to do a bit more. But it is pretty hard to train for like long stages around here. You just have to do like some intervals into stages or into tracks and
Yeah.
just try and find the longest hill as possible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about you, Will? Have you changed anything up? Or?
Pretty similar, but I mean this year was just like more long rides. I got a gravel bike, so it was just gravel biking as much as I can, long rides, and I actually rode my mountain bike a lot less. I
Okay.
used to ride it all the time and I felt really guilty if I wasn't on it.
Yeah.
I mean, here's so wet in the winter, it's just a pain. You go out and you never feel better. You like, I mean, a lot of people I feel like go out on a bike and they'll just feel rubbish, and it's like the amount of times we feel rubbish on a
Yeah.
bike when we're riding is like quite common.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help you at all, so it was more like, I'll just go on the gravel bike and I'll just
Yeah.
ride and I'll just put the miles in, and it kind of, every ride kind of had its own purpose, I feel like, this winter.
Yeah.
And it is hard because we obviously still work, and in the winter you're limited for daylight,
Yeah.
so you maybe only get 2 runs
Yeah.
and you're only riding on the weekends.
Yeah.
So it can be tough, but I mean, just trying to keep motivated. I think I was quite motivated for this winter, so I just did all I could. Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, obviously, you know, there's other sports where people, you know, have to have a normal job, if you want to call it a normal job, and then the second part of the job is the sport. Obviously, like the top downhills and XC riders, they don't have to do that. But do you think having a normal job can sometimes motivate you to want to ride your bike more, and then if you can ride your bike every day, and then it kind of gets a bit boring and monotonous? Or
Yeah, I guess. Well, I've done it that long now. I've always had to work. But I don't know. It's just what I'm used to now. But I think it is motivating because then, like, some of the top athletes now, like, riding is work for
Yeah.
them, isn't it?
yeah,
It's still work for us, but it's just through the winter I find it tough.
yeah,
Just like after a day on the windows, the last thing you want to do is go and ride your bike in the rain
yeah.
or whatever. That's what. Well, the gym stuff's. I don't mind the gym stuff as much because you're indoors and
Yeah,
it's a bit easier to get motivated for.
yeah. And I guess with it being your kind of business, you can be a little bit flexible and
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we work, but we're not full time. We're not absolute grafters.
And since you've been beating him at the races this year, has he changed your role at all?
I think he's giving me more stuff to do, probably.
Yeah.
Try and tire him out.
Yeah,
Tire
tire
the
him out.
legs out. You can do all the ones on the ladders.
Putting a banana skin under his ladder.
Yeah.
So, and so what? So you're gonna. When are you thinking of heading off to Whistler then?
Be end of July.
End of July.
Yeah. Got Ardrock to
Yeah.
race then the last weekend of July.
Right.
And head out. It'll be 2.5 weeks. I
Right.
think I'll head out for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that should be sick. Like
Yeah.
I really want to go there. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. And have you, with your like programs, is it pretty casual? That like you get a bit of support off Scott, you get a bit of support off Specialised, a bit of budget. I guess you both get in your bikes. Do they want you to do certain events, or are they pretty casual on it?
All the brands that I work with are pretty casual, which is nice.
Yeah.
I've got like Ardrock
Yeah.
in Northumbrian
Oh yeah.
because it's Scott UK. Like they
Yeah.
want me to do UK stuff.
Yeah.
Apart
Makes
from
sense.
that, like they're pretty chill, which is nice.
Yeah.
I can just be as flexible as I want, and
Mhm.
as long as I'm still racing and staying active on Instagram and stuff,
Yeah, that
I
happy
think
with
we're all happy with that.
that. Nice.
So yeah, I'm happy with my program that I'm running,
Good.
and stoked.
And what about you? Yours
Yeah,
as well?
it's the
Similar?
same. Yeah, I think Specialized, they sponsor Hard Rock, so
Yeah.
I think they'd like me to do that, and yeah, it's just exactly the same. I mean, the plan was just to do the odd races, some UK stuff, because I feel like it is cool to, you know, do the UK stuff and show that it's like you're putting an interest into there and being UK specialised. So, that I can just kind of do what I want. Yeah, try to get some videos and stuff when I can. Yeah.
Right. Cool.
That is nice.
And have you, obviously you done the first Scottish downhill race in Leith and done really well.
Yeah.
Second then, really close behind Big Reese.
Yeah.
What about you, Corey? You've done a lot of downhill in the past. Are you concentrating just more on enduro or?
Yeah, just more on enduro at the minute. I feel like I would do some like British downhill and stuff for a bit of fun, but nothing too serious. Like I feel like you need to be riding downhill a lot to, especially that world level. It's pretty insane at the minute.
Yeah.
I just like mixing it up though. Like I done a pump track race last weekend.
Oh yeah, how did that go?
Okay, like it was so fun. I enjoyed doing it. Just new format and just something different.
Yeah.
Result wise wasn't amazing, but it's just something different.
Was that a qualifier for the world?
That was a world's qualifier. Top 4 qualify. I came 5th.
Oh,
so
so you did mega at it, really.
I done alright, but that's a pretty cool race though, and a fun event. And like it was at Chopwell, and like the local community was loving it.
Where's that then?
It's down Newcastle way.
Okay, right.
And that was a sick pump track as well.
Right.
But I didn't feel too comfy on my little bike.
Right.
I was a bit tired. I had a bit.
Used to riding you.
Yeah. I didn't have the legs for it either. It's mad how physical a pump track race is.
Yeah.
Like I thought I would have been sound after being in Europe for 6 weeks, but
It's
a 20
totally
second lap.
different, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mad. I just don't think you breathe. I
No.
think that's the hard thing.
It's that intense, I think you don't. Yeah. It's probably something you have to actually practice and get your breathing
get
right,
used
innit?
to it, and the leg pump and stuff as well. Like it's different feeling as pedaling.
Yeah.
So like I'll do more of them and just do fun stuff like that.
Have you tried one of them, Will? Or?
Yeah, I did it and got smoked by Corey. So
Did you?
Didn't go back to it.
Think that was it? Retired.
I mean, I love pump track. I mean, it was cool, like, when we got the pump track local tasks, it's literally, like, every day we'd be down there. And that's when I, like, started to spend a lot more time with Corey and ride with Corey then. And, I mean, you learn so many skills, don't you?
Yeah.
It's good. Like, I feel like most of the skills I have learned have came from pump track stuff and jumping and that and just trying to one up each other, doing who can do the first gap, pretty much. Yeah. So, I think pump tracks are amazing. So it's awesome. Like pretty much around here, it's like almost every village and every town's near enough got one in a minute. So it's cool. They're popping up everywhere. Right? Yeah,
I mean definitely. It's like the basics of what you're doing all the way down the trail, really, isn't it? You know, I mean, just going back to the downhill. Obviously, you know, every sport's kind of evolving and changing, and the riders are getting better and better every year. But you watch Jackson Goldstone, and I don't know if you watched Ludenville and you were at Leo Gangler race, but how he looked like he was basically doing a pump track the whole way down the track.
Yeah.
Like how hard he was pumping and he was getting backsides perfect because he knows he's not as heavy and carries as much speed as some of the other boys, but he did that good a job on what you just explained. He was able to be in touch and then execute on the steep stuff where he thrives, you know.
Sure,
Is that so? As you know, top world class riders, watching the downhill, who are your favourite kind of riders that you look up to, or if you have any?
I mean, Jackson is insane at the minute. Like watching him run at Lindenville, it's just like how he rips a turn so well, and he's a smaller guy than the rest of them. And the G forces that are going through it, and he's still doing it, and he just bounces his way down. And it's insane. He's so good at just like managing himself well, like not hard braking, not doing anything over crazy. But I feel like just people looking up to for like downhill would be like, well, I mean, Reese has definitely been a big part, being from Scotland borders and that. For sure, it's just like sick. And he's got the coolest riding style ever, really. It's like everything he does on your bike, you're just mind blowing. The stuff that he does, high lines and all that. So it's cool trying to like. You obviously see him do a line up and a leave, and you just go up and a leave, and you just go up and repeat it. So I think him and then like Loic, and when you watch him, just how still he is on a bike, it's just mental.
Yeah, he's got, obviously I watched the race last week, and him and Jackson basically did the same time, didn't they? Well, they were 0.05 apart. I mean, if they crossed the line together, you'd hardly even see that, would you? And yet they've got such a different riding style. Brodie's strong and he's planted on the bike, and Jackson, like you say, he's like hopping and pumping his way down the track. But I don't know what your thoughts are on, like, do you think Jackson's got a completely different bike setup to Brodie? Because Brodie looks like he's just stuck to the ground, and Jackson's jumping and hopping everything.
Yeah.
Do you think there's much difference in the bike setup? And
I think there will be.
Essentially, I don't know if you've noticed, like Jackson's got his bars like mega roll forward.
Jackson does.
Yeah,
I've
he's
not
like
noticed.
he stood real upright.
Quite
He
a
is
high,
really upright. Yeah.
And then
Where
likes
Like
low.
squatted, knees out when he pedals as well.
Yeah, like power.
Yeah, like pure power. Yeah. So I feel like it's cool because downhill there's so many different styles.
Yeah.
Even in enduro as well. Like Slav Rich here, like huge guys, like massive power. And then you get Dan Booker, which is like the most skilled rider ever on flat pedals.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's such a broad range of like different techniques and
It's
stuff.
mega, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cool. I don't feel like you get many different like sports like that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and that's one point. Obviously, the last since Sam Hill was winning the enduro, he was kind of at the time the last person on flat pedals. Flat pedals have pretty much gone in downhill. There's no one using them, and yet Dan and Alex Rideau are doing amazing on flat pedals. Do you think that's because you don't really know where you're going in enduro, and there's a lot more mistakes happening throughout the runs? Do you think that's why they're able to still do well on flats rather than clip pedals?
Yeah, I would say so. It's just, I don't know, it's hard to know. Like with enduro, you always think pedaling and efficiency, so you think, clips.
Yeah.
But then, there's been, even like, didn't Martin win Ludenville last year on flats?
Yeah.
And then
In the when it was muddy.
Dan, Rideau, like, there's a lot of boys within the last year or so that have been winning on flat pedals, and it could be just because that thing of like not knowing 100% what's around the next corner.
So you maybe you go in a bit harder because you can.
Yeah, you can afford to just dial a leg if you wanted to.
Yeah, because back the thought process ages ago was like you can get away with it in downhill because you're not pedaling.
Yeah.
And enduro is so much pedaling, but it's like kind of gone the other way, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's crazy to be fair. I would do so well because I would not be able to do the same thing.
Struggle on
it's
flats
like
now.
A lot of the tracks are pedaling over flat chunder, and like if you roll flat, you ride flats a lot, and it's just like feet all over the place. You're just constantly thinking about where your feet is. So yeah, definitely like a wet race would help.
Yeah.
Like obviously putting your foot out, but I think they're just insane bike riders to be honest. Like Alex, if you watch him, like and just like when you're following him, I follow him, and just like I'm like, I can't ride myself when I follow him because you just
different
watch,
style.
you just watch.
Are you watching what he's doing?
You're just like, I can't even think of what I'm doing right now. Yeah. Just the way he digs his heels into stuff, it is awesome. Yeah. It's like such a skill, I think, flat pedal riding that well.
Yeah, I've never figured it out, but still I try. But yeah, it's cool to see, and it's it's interesting, and like you say, it's not always about the most flamboyant rider and what we kind of see as the best skills, because I'm like what you've just said. I watched Alex Stone. I think blows my mind how good he looks on the bike and what he can do, and yet obviously both you guys are insane on your bikes as well and impressive in what you do, but Alex has never been in the top 4 in the world standings. So it's just because you're a insane bike rider, it doesn't always sort of style doesn't always relate to your results, does it?
Yeah.
But you watch you guys here, and everyone around here go, wow, you seen how fast William is through those turns, or you, Corey, you know, you might not think that yourselves, but you know, I'm sure if Alex was up here, you boys would show him how to, you know.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Ride
mean,
the trails,
even
yeah.
just watching people is hard, because even on a race day,
Yeah.
you're watching people in practice, and I'm like, wow, they're going so fast, and like they're numbered like 150, and you're like, what the hell, like.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like Leo Gang was bad for that.
Was
It was like taped pretty wide and a lot of lines. And that was the most I'd stopped and like watched this
Was
year.
it?
And I was like, oh, I don't like this. Everyone was hauling.
Yeah.
And like everyone was doing like different lines and stuff as well, which was sick.
But then it was it? Were you then thinking, well, what?
Yeah,
what
like
line
what
should
do
I
you
do?
do? And like you just get nervous watching. I'm like, right, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
ride my line and get through it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's there's a lot going on in there, and so for you, Will, doing the full series. So Slav's leading at the minute, then Dan's second.
Dan and Charlie.
So Charlie's moved into because of his last result.
I think if you get a podium, you get obviously like a load of points. And
Right.
You got a podium last weekend.
Yeah.
So that just bumps you straight up.
I see. Yeah.
And I've obviously just been outside that each weekend, so
So you need
I need to try and get up there, yeah. But the points are really tight, so I think Jack and Jesse are on the same amount of points and only 10 behind.
Okay.
And Charlie's only 10 in front.
So
It's super tight at the minute, and then I don't think Greg's far behind that again, because he went from 3rd to now 7th, I think, in the overall.
yeah.
So I mean, it is super tight, the overall
Yeah.
series. So it's exciting, yeah.
Yeah,
It's cool to actually be in amongst them. You see your name
yeah.
in between, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you've got to now realise that, you know, you are as fast as them. So you know, at the end of the day, they are only other bike riders. It's just they've done well in the past, and they've created these kind of names that you expect to be up there. But
Yeah.
you know, like you beat most of them at the World Champs last year, so you know you can both do it.
Yeah.
It's just and you seem to have sussed it now. We're just doing it week in, week out, and then you know, there's no reason you can't win Worlds or the overall title. You just gotta, you know, believe in yourselves, which is mega.
Yeah.
And have you obviously? I'm not as familiar because you know I've only lived up here for 4 years, but Scotland seems sometimes quite good at supporting the sports people and stuff. Has anybody, you know, reached out to how good you guys are doing, and is there any support that you can get from Scottish cycling or enterprises in Scotland? Because you know mountain biking is a big part for Scottish tourism now, especially around here.
Like I've not had anything in the recent years. Like when I was younger, there's a lot of like foundations that help.
Yeah.
And like gave you money to like go racing in the UK, but when I was like 17, 18, that kind of stopped.
Right.
So I'm not sure if there is anyone helping like older riders or whatever. I don't know if you get any support.
I've obviously had like support like from local businesses in
Yeah.
the areas and stuff that have like helped contribute a little bit towards racing, which helps massively. And I think because my dad's obviously works in trade and stuff, and I think he's just had friends that have helped out, and but it's quite funny because like obviously you're at work and people don't understand at all, and they're like, oh, you know, have you been away on holiday? It's like, oh, I was away racing my bike. And it's like, no.
They always think it's a holiday, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, people don't really understand, but it's of course it's massive up here. It's like it has to be probably the mecca of the UK mountain biking here. So, I mean, it would be nice if there was more like pathways for support or something, or even just like pathways for younger kids to be able to get more involved and have support to go to racing and stuff, because there isn't really much of that.
No, for sure. I mean, you know, like I was mentioning earlier, my son's at high school now, and they have a mountain bike class that he does on it was a Wednesday, it's changed to a Tuesday now, but you know probably half of them kids, unless they're on social media and they go to the races, they won't even realise that there's two local lads from around here that, you know, fourth in the world and flipping, you know, it's a shame that, you know, that's not tapped into a little bit more, because that would motivate the kids at school to think, well, you know, that's something I'd like to do when I'm older.
Yeah.
Do you ever get asked by the local schools and authorities to go and help out with that kind of stuff?
Been to a few pump track openings and stuff, so I mean, yeah, there's also like, I don't know if you know Chris Bryan, he's quite involved with the council in Scottish cycling, and
Right.
does a lot of clubs and stuff and coaching, so I've done that. And then I used to go to a kids club called like Kids in a Leaving Cycling Club when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I've done like a day there before, so it would actually be cool in the winter if we get time to go do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, I haven't had like much inquiries to do it, but I'd be up for it. Yeah.
Well, you know, there's definitely, I'm not the person to know, but there's definitely ways of tapping into money for certain businesses and enterprises in Scotland. You know, it'd be nice if someone could access that and give you guys some money to maybe, you know, do things in the off season to bring kids through, because, you know, I think especially at the moment in the UK, I don't know, with the downhill, seems like French and the Kiwis and the Aussies, when there's people doing well from your country, it brings on the next generation of kids.
Sure, yeah.
You know, like Steve Peat did it back in the day, and then you know, Danny and Laurie and stuff, and Matt Walker. There's always like a wave of really fast kids, but if that sort of tailors off in your own country, it seems like the next wave takes longer to come through.
Yeah, I feel like it does take a little bit for like kids to come through, because like I guess they see like the New Zealand lot. There was a period where there was like almost no real like quick New Zealand lot. It was just like Eddie and all them and the older dogs and stuff. And now you see it and it's just like they're all coming through, and you're like, what the hell? Like they're all rapid.
Every 6 months a year, there's a new dude in there who's capable of winning and stuff. Like Ollie, who won the junior race the other week, you know, was super impressive. Downhill.
And it'd be cool to see more races in like UK and stuff in Scotland, because I mean, in like when I was younger, we used to have border mini downhills, and if I didn't have that, it'd, like it's just like my riding probably wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
Because I just from a young age doing little like downhill races, and then just building your way up to SDAs, British Nationals, and then now racing World Cups. It's like at the minute, it's like you pretty much go from riding your bike around here to racing a World Cup if you want to do it.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's a massive stepping stone. It's just
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see a little few more races and stuff, so kids and stuff can get involved.
Definitely. I mean, there was last weekend, my son done a little mini downhill at Glen Tress. It was only on one of the red tracks, but the amount of kids that were doing it, and it was like really good atmosphere. And like you say, if you know, you can't just start off and, you know, race on super difficult tracks. You've got to start off and build your way up, haven't you?
Well, that's how I started as well, just many downhills on the inner leaving downhill side, just push up race one day.
Yeah.
And from there it just kicks off. And I think that's how you get the waves though. You'll get one boy that's like a bit quicker or more developed, and then everyone's chasing him. Yeah. And then they just kind of follow through the rankings, like Scottish, British, and onto the World Cup. If you've not got that start or foundation, it's quite hard to get that wave of kids going.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard, like, before I met you, Corey, you know, there was lots of people who used to tell me that you were like really small when you were younger, but super fast, and then you,
still is.
but then you pushed yourself to try and beat these bigger, more developed kids, and then when you do catch them up, you've built more skills, and that's what's happened with Jackson, isn't it? Because he's always been such a small kid as well.
Yeah.
Well, like when I was juvenile and youth, I was really underdeveloped, and I was like, maybe getting top 10s at British and stuff, like really downhill, but like it wasn't like fantastic results, but
still
I don't know,
good for in Britain.
It kind of like keeps you going. Like if I wasn't winning every weekend, so once I got caught up with that grip.
Getting
I was
legs
like,
growing sprout.
yeah, I was like, oh, like I can kind of be there, and
Yeah.
it's like pretty motivating.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because I've seen it in the past, you've got. I saw it in BMX when I was young. You know, big developed kids when you're 13, 14, and you win everything, and then they get to like juniors and the kids, and then they start losing, and then they quit because they're used to winning all the time, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, you're right. And so, what's the plan? Obviously, you've got your schedule for this year. What's the plan for next year? Are you both going to stick with enduro? Is there any? Do you get any thoughts where you think, well, if I want to really make this as a career, you know, I have to maybe change disciplines? Is that something you've thought about, or not? Not really.
Slightly. I mean, I did race downhill a lot as a kid, but I mean, being from the Tweed Valley, it's just like the enduro trails are insane, and there's so much riding on your doorstep. So I mean, and all my mates rode enduro, so it was literally just that kind of pathway into enduro for myself, where it was like, you want to ride with your mates, you go and ride enduro, and then so I started racing more enduro, and then did the World Cups. But I did race juniors in downhill, so, and did alright, but I mean the speed was kind of there. I just had obviously like kind of a lot of crashes, a lot of mechanicals and stuff. So yeah, I have thought about it, because it is just like, I mean, downhill's so tough at the minute to get in there, and it's like I'd love to go and race another downhill race, but I think it'd take me so long to get back up to speed and get used to that, because I've just built myself into more of a European enduro guy at the minute. Doing switchback turns and awkward tracks and learning how to ride shit good almost. So it's changed my riding, and enduro riding, I feel like it suits myself. Suit enduro riding maybe a bit more technical, like high lines and stuff, and just carrying speed, and like just the long tracks and like trying to find the flow and stuff. But I mean, downhill's so hard at the minute, so I think it'd be tough, but it would be cool to try and get maybe involved in it. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna have to wait and see how the rest of the year goes, I think. Yeah,
definitely. And have you got any? Obviously, it's difficult when you're not on a big factory team with a huge salary, like all the downhillers that are on good salaries nowadays. They all like bugger off to New Zealand for the winter and train, and it seems like it's hard nowadays to stick in the UK for the winter and then come out firing on top straight into especially for the downhill. There's so much time that's put in for bike testing and doing multiple runs and stuff, which all costs more money. Whereas, like you say, with enduro, you can, living around here, you can pretty much go and pedal and do your own thing, can't you?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's how I kind of progressed more to the enduro. It's like you're a one-man team against a team of 15 at the minute. That's what like the downhill is now. Yeah. And enduro is a lot more of a level playing field. It's easier to kind of come up through the ranks and kind of get involved a bit more. Yeah. Because it's like, once you're racing, it is just a solo effort for a full day. So yeah, I think, I don't know, it'd be cool to race some more downhill, but just see how it goes. Yeah.
I'm pretty satisfied just with enduro. I just enjoy it, like big days on the bike and just different terrain every race. Yeah. And I think, like William said, I feel like it suits my style as well. But I think that's just growing up around here. Yeah. A bit more technical and tighter tracks. It's just easier to train for. Like if I was racing downhill, I don't think I'd want to stay here for the winter. You'd have to go like New Zealand or something, or even Wales, like somewhere with just high speed tracks and a bit of fast pace.
Definitely. I mean, we've got the terrain here though, isn't it? I mean, like, do you think are you involved in speaking with any of the people that build the tracks? Is that surely there's scope here to build a downhill track that's good, good enough to train for downhill here? You just need a bit of a wider, more high-speed trail, don't you?
Yeah, come on, Gordo.
I'm not sure Gordon quite understands, you know, the what is needed at that level. But you know, maybe he's. I mean, have you asked him about stuff like that? I've spoken to him about it.
I haven't done, but I think he like the thought is there in the past for it because he has like tried to get downhill trails and stuff, and I mean even having the uplift there is cool.
Yeah.
Like Goro's brought so much into the into interleaving and stuff, and I feel like done a lot with the bike shop, the restaurant, and the uplift, and he brings so much tourism in. So it would be sick to have more trails out because the trails are. They've been going longer than I've been alive, and they're pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah.
And it is quite tight and it's narrow and it's got its own style.
Yeah.
For sure, but is you go anywhere else and it's completely different.
For sure. Like if they had a downhill World Cup on that side, you'd probably be on the podium, you boys.
yeah, maybe.
Back when I was racing, you know, they'd have a race here the week before Fort William World Cup, and all the top guys in the world would come and get smoked by some local, you know, and they'd be like, "What's going on?" But it's just because you feel like you're going super fast here, but you're not, are you? Because you're just whizzing past trees in a little tiny gully.
Unique style, like ducking shoulders and elbows.
Yeah, the intensity's insane.
Yeah.
You do a 3-minute run here and it's harder than a 15-minute run I think sometimes at finale and stuff.
Yeah. And trail wise here, you know, I feel like most of the trails are kind of one line. There's the odd like high line and stuff, but is there certain trails that you try and ride here to give you, you know, advantage when you go away and the trails are different? Do you try and ride different stuff here, or do you stick to the main like favourite tracks that everyone kind of rides?
I'm pretty bad for just sticking to the main tracks, like the classics, you could say.
I mean, they're fun, aren't they?
Yeah, I just like you just get into a rhythm of going up and doing the same thing. But it is quite hard to get like variation. I feel like here, like everyone feels pretty similar.
Yeah, and they're not. Everything, even though it's tight and stuff, everything kind of flows here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of enduro tracks abroad, they don't flow.
No. Yeah, I think that's what's really hard when you do go abroad and you're like, oh, the turn's not built up. You're like, this is so rubbish.
Yeah.
But that is just like kind of European way of riding down like a cow track or a sheep trail, and it's like, oh, it just doesn't. You're like, oh, it doesn't work. I think finale's cool because like the builders there are saying they do a lot of work and the tracks flow really well, and then you go somewhere else and you're just like, oh, it's not working. It's not the same as home. But I mean, going up here on the trail, I just try and poach anything that Shay's just been building. Because I mean the trail builders here are insane. So every track is good. Yeah.
Do you think now Shay's involved with the Enduro World Cups there might be a few more, or does he not get the time to really make too much difference to the trails?
I don't know how much time he gets.
No, I think he's quite limited, and Alan's got him working hard as it is.
He just maintains what's there.
Yeah, that was one of the things where like the first stage at Leogang, where I met Alan and I was like, oh, it's quite dangerous. And quite a sketchy track at the minute because I hadn't had any work done, I think, because of snow and stuff.
Right.
And it only opened that week.
So it was just
boulders everywhere. And he said, "Oh, I'm gonna send Shay up with a max." I was thinking, "Oh, it's gonna be. I'm gonna come down to this gnarly bit, thinking it's all prepped, and then I basically come to this section like, oh, I'm gonna hit this fast, and then I look and I'm like, oh crap, it's not had any work done. Just go straight over the top of the turn."
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And is it been? I mean, do you get to see Shay much when you're out there, or not really?
Yeah, you see him around. Like, I have a wee conversation with him and that. But I feel like he's pretty busy.
Yeah.
Pretty busy, just doing everything really.
Yeah.
It's cool having Mark involved now because I think Mark's got a really good intention towards the enduro racing and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's been there and done it himself and also competed at such a high level. Got a podium, I think, as well. Yeah. So Mark knows kind of what he's talking about. I just hope he doesn't bring out a big date. Because Mark's probably one of the fittest guys there. But he's like, oh, I'm going to take the jumps in, I'm going to put good tracks.
Yeah.
And there's also let me know if there's any like things that need sorted.
Mm.
So like the whole crew at the Enduro is really keen at the minute,
Yeah.
I think, and they want it to be well, and they want everyone to enjoy themselves, I think, and
Yeah.
put on a good event.
Cool. And so is Mark going out to the races as well now?
He's gone out to some of them. He's not been at all of them, so I
Right.
think he's like sort of the technical director, track kind of manager in a way.
Okay. Cool.
So he pretty much goes around the e-bike and just like rides the track last or even first.
Kind of what Rory did a few years back.
Yeah, pretty much
Yeah.
Rory's role, and
Yeah.
he'll be the first guy down probably, and just be like, "Oh, we need to get rid of this cattle grid,
Yeah.
or that tin the track, this
Yeah.
bridge,"
Yeah.
and then they'll obviously do it. We'll ride down, and then sometimes it's still there, and we'll be like, "Mark, this needs taken out," and then he'll get it sorted. So
Right.
yeah.
Oh, that's good. Good. And good to have someone familiar as well that you've got faith in, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think even the other racers know Mark really well because he's been there and done that at
Yeah.
such a high level. So
original.
we can you can trust him to know that it's like he's got the right intentions to do like for the riders and stuff. Yeah.
Cool. And what for you, Corey? Like, obviously, you had a little stint on being on a team when we had the team.
Yeah.
You know, it probably wasn't as factory a team as some teams, but it was a race team with mechanics and, you know, people helping you out.
Yeah.
Is it much different doing it on your own to that experience, or?
It is pretty different, I feel like. Like that was an insane experience for me. Like I'd never envisioned myself being on a team like your team.
Right.
As like I was saying before, I was never like the fastest kid growing up. I didn't really think a factory team would be like on the cards for me. It's just mad how it happened. But like that was one of like 2023 was probably one of the coolest years in my life. That was so
Cool.
sick, just travelling with everyone.
Even with Elliot.
Even with Elliot, yeah. My roommate.
Yeah.
No, I've got a lot of good memories from that year. That was sick. But I don't know, my results weren't the best. And I don't know why. I don't know if I was just putting pressure on myself.
Mhm.
So I've kind of done better on my own programme.
Yeah.
But I don't know why.
Quite why.
Yeah.
Well, you know, obviously I ran the team for a long time, and you know, we had lots of different riders on the team when it was a downhill team, and then when it was an enduro team. But I found, you know, and I didn't do anything different, or you know, the mechanics are doing their jobs. But it seemed to me the years we had the most success was when somebody on the team was doing really well.
Right.
So, like for instance, when I first started running the team, we had a rider called Chris Kovarik and Julian Camellini, who were both like, you know, podium and top 10 capable riders.
Yeah.
So we did really well in the first year running the team, and then later on in the team when Sam came onto the team, you know, in the downhill, the first year he got some podiums and really put our team right up there with the other top teams. And then the year after he started getting some wins, which he hadn't done for quite a few years. And then we had Mike Jones on the team and Joe Smith, and their results seemed to accelerate because Sam was doing well.
Yeah.
And I think the same situation in the Enduro when Sam was winning that, Elliot was winning the under 21s, and we just had success on a team breeds success with the other riders, like we were saying with the you know, when you've got a fast local kid, you want to do as well as them. And I think maybe just when you were on the team, we weren't at that level. That, you know, Sam had kind of gone off the boil. Elliot was getting some good results, but not, you know, having some crashes and stuff. And I don't know if that was something that...
I feel like it was probably like maybe slightly a pressure thing, like putting on myself as well. Like I never felt pressure from you or Nick Proof or anything, but I think you can get in your own head when you're like, I'm on a team, I should be performing.
Yeah.
And then obviously running my own program, it's like it's all on me.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to feel bad if I do.
Yeah, there's
not as good because Matt's worked on my bike all night.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
yeah,
it is what it is. I've
Yeah.
done all the work and whatever. But that was like such a cool experience. Like, because I've been teammates with Sam Hill.
Yeah,
so like,
it's
pretty mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, Will, you've never had that as such yet. Putting that yet out there. Hopefully that'll change for you in the future. But is that something that you're striving? Well, obviously both of you, but are you striving to try and get yourself onto a race team?
I think like it's always a dream as a kid, like for myself to be on a team, and I mean it like hasn't worked out, or like I haven't really had that opportunity yet. And I mean when I first like tried to go race World Cups, I was like, I don't know how I made it through, to be honest. I don't know, like just I have no clue at all. And I mean each year I've just been able to like learn and build on what I've done and just learn your own way of how I'm doing things. But it can be super tough because you're obviously doing everything yourself, working on your bike and
got to step in here though and say your mum does a good job.
My mum's been awesome.
Yeah.
And just as like from little just driving me to all the races and helping out massively, so it's been cool. But I mean this year I've just been like solely on my own, staying in the van, which is quite chill and relaxing. You just with all your mates having a good time really. It's probably like the most fun I've had in like a long time. It's like probably the most fun year I've had, just because we're all just in vans playing football, riding different spots, just enjoying ourselves, having fun.
Really, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean there's not the pressure there. There's obviously the pressure to do well and make it, like if you want it, like there is the pressure to be like, I need to do it, like if I want to do it in the long run. But just I think I'll just try and keep on doing what I'm doing and just try and build on. But it would be really nice to have the opportunity just to have no excuses, almost just do the best I can, and I'll see what happens. And
do you think, with the way the sport is at the moment and the industry not maybe supporting enduro as much as some of the other disciplines, do you think there's possibilities where you guys can approach, like Specialized, one of the biggest brands in the world, and Scott, if they want to, they can do it, to maybe approach them and say, look, I'll put my own program together, it's going to cost this much budget, but then I guess like Charlie's doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've thought about and maybe tried to do? Obviously if you went to Specialized and said, look, maybe at the end of the year when you've won the series, you can say, look, number one in the world, if you give me this budget, I can get myself a new van. It can it can have Specialized logo all over. I'm able to take a mechanic that can do edits to show like what's it's super important in my view, and it gets huge viewing figures, bike checks and stuff like that. If you can provide that for your sponsors, and what gear you're in and what helmet that's super. They can use that in their marketing. Like I saw last week, there was a bike check on Dan Booker's bike, and the internet people love a bike check. And if your bike looks and is in the media and on Pink Bike and Vital after the race, it's that's what people want to see. So
yeah, for sure. And it's just trying to, I think, be different as well, because it's like with the media stuff, it is hard. It's easy to just be the same, like just put all that out, and I mean there's quite a lot of like just POV stuff, isn't there? But like I've been trying to like put up videos that are different, maybe not quite the same, just like POVs, and it's hard to know what everyone wants, but and like even like speaking to brands and stuff, I'll just be like, oh, can I have 20% off please?
I think both of you guys are like really humble and not pushy, and sometimes you've got to ask a bit more, I know what you mean. Sometimes you get knocked back so many times when you ask for stuff, you're like, oh, there's no chance. But then you've got other people that aren't winning world, or at the top of the world in racing. They concentrate more on videos and YouTube, and they're getting more than you guys off sponsors. So it's kind of, you've got to have a balance. You've got to sell yourselves a little bit as well.
No, definitely.
Yeah. I struggle with that. I feel like a little bit, just selling myself.
It was hard to actually give you new tyres, Corey. I'd say to you, like, you've got tyres, Corey, let me know when. I'm alright, thank you.
No, it's something I need to work on, because I think it is true. Even like on Instagram and stuff, just trying to sell yourself.
Well, sometimes
more influency.
You feel like, oh, no one wants to see me or whatever, because you're a nice, humble person, but people do want to see what you're doing, because you're both like amazing bike riders, and there's so many people in the world that are sat there that haven't got the talent that you've got, who'd love to be doing that, so they want to see what they wish they were doing.
Yeah, definitely.
You've got to give it to Charlie. He's flat out gets after it, doesn't he? And that gives value to him, to his sponsors and
for sure.
stuff.
It is like hard, like Bernard Kerr and stuff, like how they do racing and videos. Like even when we're like driving around, we're like, oh, we need to try and get some Instagram clips or something, but it's so tough.
I know.
To do it all, and it is crazy that they're able to like race at such a high level and do that, because you're trying to do like a million things in a weekend.
Yeah.
So
it's impressive.
Definitely.
For World Champs prep, if you both, obviously both capable of getting a result at the Enduro World Champs, is there anywhere that you're gonna try and get to before to give you a bit of, maybe a bit of more time riding that style of track before you go there, or are you just gonna wing it when you go, do you think?
Probably wing it. It'll be quite hard to find stuff around here. You could probably, if you're in Europe or something, just ride some hiking paths.
Yeah, you could go up north, ride some hiking paths.
Or go up north.
Put myself, try and train myself at altitude, just sleep at the top of 2,000 metres or something higher.
Yeah. Although you probably die of midgy bites by the time you get to the morning.
Yeah, I can imagine, but I think just the plan is just to go through the rest of the races and try and do my best, and then we'll get to Worlds, and I guess Worlds is just a highlight at the end of the year. So.
And how was Worlds last year? Was it different was there a different vibe? Obviously I've been to Downhill World Championships, and there's always like that extra vibe at Worlds, because it's World Champs and there's a jersey up for grabs. Was it like that at the Enduro?
Yeah, it was a little bit. It was pretty strange though, like, because it snows and stuff. It got like a day was cancelled, and
you had snow and stuff last year and stuff, but it was around the pits and the riders, was there an extra like buzz and stuff because there was a title on the line?
I didn't really notice it hugely. I can't say I was really in the pits much. We were in the village like down the road, so I wasn't really around. But like on my side, I didn't, like, I was just like, oh, it's another race. Like, I didn't actually expect too much from it. But it was just cool, like, that Enduro did have a rainbow jersey that someone was going to win.
Yeah.
So like, I'm guessing all the top boys were pretty fired up for it, and I loved that race. It was cool.
Yeah.
And it's pretty sick when it's like you're all wearing the GB jerseys as well, and everyone's cutting around in their national federation jersey. You're like, oh, we're at World Champs, and we did the parade thing.
So
it was actually like pretty special. We're all like coming down with flags, and we're all got our like GB hoodies on and stuff, and you're like, oh, this is actually like a proper World Champs now.
Made it feel pretty
so that's sick. And I mean, it would be nice for British cycling to give us a bit more support, because they didn't really have anything that's all for us. It was all done by parents and stuff, so they were like nice enough to help out. But where you're like on track, I remember being on track and you could see the French Federation waiting for their riders on a climb, and they would like chase them up the climb, running up the climb, and pretty much telling them what lines were good mid-race.
No British cycling dudes doing that.
Nah.
Come on, Brailsford, you
Yeah.
can get yourself over to the race.
Yeah, but it's definitely special. It's cool that Enduro's got that, and it's seen as now a proper World Series and a world level event.
Yeah.
It is cool, and hopefully this year it's going to be even better, I think.
Yeah, it's a big shame. I guess we don't need to talk about politics and get ourselves all depressed, but if that was a world track cycling event or a road event, there'd be all the big wigs from British cycling there, because anything Olympic and on that kind of level brings money into British cycling, whereas Enduro doesn't. But everybody should be, who works at British Cycling, interested in cycling and want to give a bit back. So it'd be nice to see that. I know when I've done a couple of world championships back in the day, and with British Cycling with downhill, and there was a bit of support, but there wasn't tons of support. But I remember Sam saying with Australian cycling and he was always a contender at world champs, that they'd have to actually buy the tracksuits and stuff like that. So I don't think it's only our country. I think there's other countries that, when there's no money involved for the organisation, they don't get involved, which is sad to see, really.
Yeah.
But the French have always been really good
they're
with
super
cycling.
passionate about it, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it is quite sad to see, because obviously the valley's so big, popular enduro, and there's every riding spot is just popular around the UK, and there's so many different riding spots, and especially in Scotland.
Yeah.
So it would be nicer to see them more involved, because cycling is it's massive. It's probably the biggest thing that drives the community around here nowadays.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how World Champs goes this year. And,
Hopefully come back with a jersey. 2 chances.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Hopefully A-line laps help for some hiking path.
You'll have to just get to the top of the world and do runs down that thing.
So I might have to do.
Yeah. I remember that. I think that's what Richie did a few years back, and then he put about 30 seconds into everyone on the first stage. So yeah, don't just do A-line laps, clearly.
I want to ride some jumps.
I know there's not too many around here, is there?
No.
Yeah, do you think we'll ever see another EDR here? Because for 2 years we had the Enduro World Series, and I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, I'd literally love for it to be here, to be honest, because it is it's such an awesome destination, and to now have no World Cup racing in the UK because Fort William's gone. It'd be sick to bring it back, and I thought they did have a contract for multiple years. I don't think they have an organiser to run it. I think maybe that's a problem.
Right.
But I mean the crowd, and I think it would help Enduro, because the expo was insane and everyone gets involved, and it brings such a buzz. So it would be so cool to have a race back here.
For sure. Well, look how big the expo is at Hard Rock. I mean, that's probably why your sponsors want you to go to there. I went there 2 years ago when we went, and I was blown away at how big the expo was. So you put another World Championship Enduro around here and try and get all them guys. It's just good for the whole UK industry, innit?
When it was here, it did feel like one of the biggest.
Yeah, it was mega, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And everyone's so passionate about it, following the racing and stuff when they come around. So and following when Ennis did well.
Yeah.
It's cool to see, and I think now where we've obviously came through the ranks a bit more and it's starting to get a bit more known, it'd be awesome to come back here and actually try and race it.
Definitely. And last time, obviously it wasn't part of the Warner Brothers thing. It was the Enduro World Series, which Chris Ball owned, I guess, and ran. Is it? You guys might know more than me. Is obviously his team probably ran the event last time here, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah.
Have you spoken to Rory or anybody about why there isn't one?
I'm not sure. Just need to get on to Alan. It'd be easiest for them because they're based here.
Well, it just doesn't make any sense to me that they don't have
why
one.
there isn't. But I don't know if they've got so much on their plate that it is a harder thing to to run for them. So I mean, I think if someone probably stepped forward and were like, "Oh, we're happy to try and run a race here, and we want the World Series to be part of it," I think they probably would come on board potentially.
Right.
And it would be cool to see. So I mean, if anyone's watching
Yeah.
and want to,
I guess
World Enduro in the Tweed Valley.
yeah.
I think with the World Cup, I don't know if it's the same with an enduro race, but they normally ask for such a big amount of money off the local race organisers, then probably no one could afford to do that here. But if they were willing to use a bit of their own budget to help with that in the place where their office is, then it would be nice to see that, wouldn't it?
I do feel like it would also help enduro build back up again to
Definitely.
what it was, or even better than what it was, to be honest, because it's such a popular area here, and the UK has not really seen any World Cup racing. That it's like if they take a cut out, it's gonna improve it in the long run.
Yeah.
It's going to bring the younger riders like yourselves through and want to go and do it, isn't it? If there's no big races over here in enduro, then no one's going to be doing it to go and race at the world level.
Well, it's like that when you're a little kid. You go up to Fort William and watch. It's like, that's what I want to do when I'm older. I guess the little kids don't have anything to watch now.
No,
There's no World Cup there.
No.
There's no enduro here. So
It'd be nice to bring back like maybe international races as well. Tweed Love used to have a really good international race, and like just bring, invite riders to come over, teams potentially, and just have an international race pretty much, even further downhill. Like we don't really have any pre-season. Pre-season for myself was trying to race the SDA, which was downhill. So it'd be cool to have like a pre-season race or something, even if it was abroad or in the UK. Yeah,
definitely. And you probably know, is there any you've got Stan Nesbitt, who's stepped up onto the World Cup level, who's a few years younger than you guys. Is there any other like super fast local Scottish kids that you know about that are showing potential for what we're talking about?
There's like not really been in the scene too much lately, just because we have been trying to like focus on ourselves and race abroad, which I haven't been able to do UK stuff because a lot of them clash. So I haven't really seen it. There was obviously Stan's been like the tiniest little kid for ages, and he's been ripping around here for a long time. So it's hard to follow. I mean, I'm sure there is. When you go to Glentress or something, you're like, holy crap, these kids are like doing massive whips. And
It's insane.
They look great.
Some of the young kids are, isn't it?
But for sure, like the lack of races in the past few years will probably put a bit of a dent to it, I think. But hopefully, like seeing us do well actually brings them on and wants to maybe go down the enduro path potentially. Yeah.
And then do you think, obviously it's still going ahead and never happens, but the bike part that's supposed to be getting built here, do you think that'll ever happen? And if it does, do you think it'll be good for the area, or do you think it'll kind of ruin the natural trails that are here?
Well, there's been talks of that for years now, but I think it'd be sick. Like, it's bound to make this place bigger and just more infrastructure in it. We might miss some natural trails, but the whole valley's littered with trails. So if it was like one hill was like a bike park, I think it'd be good variety. Because it is nice to ride some bike park turns and
especially
jumps.
for younger kids, they want to do that, don't they?
It is like a fun style of ride, and you just develop more skills doing like different variety as well. So I think it would be sick if it happened.
Yeah, I'd love a Gondi up golfing.
Gondi laps. Oh,
I'd be fat, but
Your
probably wouldn't
enduro results might go backwards.
It might, but I mean that talk's been going around for like as long as I can almost remember riding up here. So who knows? It would be definitely cool to bring in some more like infrastructure, and it would bring in so much like more tourism to the area and stuff, and
local cafes and all that stuff.
I mean it's crazy when there's just one new trail built in it just like flocks of people.
Yeah.
You're going up the fire road, and it's like I'm like, oh, we're up the M6 motorway
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
people everywhere. And
Like
I
when
think,
they opened Flat White
Oh,
last year.
yeah.
It was like a
Queues.
race
Yeah.
weekend.
yeah,
Like the fire road, there'd just be waves of people
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
It's mental.
yeah. I mean, a gondola would be nice
Yeah.
for sure.
It
Yeah.
would. It would. Definitely. So, anyway, bit of funny stuff. So, pump track, you reckon Corey's better than you at, is he?
Oh, I mean, Corey's like manual king as well. I don't know, I can't really compete with the skills that Corey's got. Little CZ guy.
What-
So,
What about Steez on the bike? Who's got that?
oh, I would definitely say Corey. I can
Go-
I can scrub, but that's about it. Scrub and
We
shrub.
go very
that's it.
different styles of it, man.
Mm.
I'm more like maybe bouncy and he's manual everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know if you know who Little Harry is, the little the guy that does wheelies everywhere. Just on the streets, you know, you get the people down London doing on the street
Yeah,
bikes. Yeah, so I call him Little Harry.
Little Harry.
Because he manuals out every clip.
No
It's just
way.
for Instagram.
But
I don't do that on my race runs.
yeah, it is cool. Like it can be like when we're trying to clip on the same turn. We're like get competitive and like, oh, I need to get a better clip now.
Yeah.
Try and get the Instagram views, but no, it's just it's fun at the end of the day. Yeah, and I think I learned a lot of Corey as well. It's cool riding with him, and you're just like watching. You're just like, whoa, try and do the exact same thing. I mean, I can't really compete around the pump track quite the same. Yeah.
And what about style? Do you try and look as cool as Corey when he's just stood there looking stylish? Everything always matches on Corey.
Yeah,
Always
it's got to look perfect.
Yeah.
The fit check and everything, dirty.
Is that something you have to work on, Corey, or is that just pure natural?
Just natural.
Yeah, I
Nah,
thought so.
it's taken a few years. I love scrolling on Instagram and TikTok. Like, he looks cool. Need to copy that.
What about you, Will? Is that not something you're bothered about, or do you try? Do you
Not
have to
as
try
bothered.
now?
I have to try a little, or I'll just...
Nah, you got a bit of drip. Got some baggy shorts. And
Yeah, I've got
stuff.
some baggy shorts. They're good enough for a corner. Yeah, just try and, just do as well as I can on the bike, yeah.
Yeah, he beats me on the bike. Maybe I should focus less on what I'm wearing and train a bit harder.
You're out in Edinburgh shopping and he's doing intervals.
That's what it's like. I just
Getting your
go
baggy pants cut, your
yeah.
chain link.
At least still look cool in the pits. But,
Yeah.
Well, maybe some people doesn't think it's cool. But go slow, look cool.
No, you don't go slow, mate. And so, obviously, you're still both young dudes. I remember you used to have a few certain riders that you looked up to on Instagram and thought he's cool because he's got a good style and that. Is that kind of changed now? Or have you both got some favourite other, bike riders that you kind of like influence you in your riding styles and everything else?
Yeah, I've got like if Hugo Fricks, like posts on Instagram. It's just insane, and Matteo and I guess like they two boys are just I could watch them ride all day. It's like they might not be the fastest, but I've had like insane World Cup results, but just their style and flow on the bike's just mad. Like that's what I quite like watching and trying to be the same as. I might not be the fastest racer, but like if you can add a little style, you can have that in your favour, I guess.
Yeah. What about you, Will?
Well, I feel like I'm probably is that generation, like a YouTube generation. So just growing up watching YouTube people riding. So like the old shredder edits, like Ryan Middleton, Max Rendell, and all that. Just like watching them videos, like innocent stuff, and even just like when I was younger, just like looking up to Corey, just like a local lad. It's just like you see all that. But I think now, just like. I mean, like totally, it's like seeing Loic and that what he does is insane, and just what Richie and that put into training and stuff, and like how they go about racing and that's cool, and then like, just the style like Hugo and yeah, I mean, there's so many stylish riders out there now that they're just good bike riders, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you think, talking about Richie, obviously Richie has sort of swapped to his main focus is downhill this year. You know, he's won 4 world titles in enduro, so you know, why not? You know, give it a go. He got an insane good result at the first round in Poland. Obviously, I only see the feed from the TV, but Poland looked like quite physical and it was wetter, so it was probably a little bit slower. And then he's not quite had as good a results at the next 2 fast drier rounds. What do you think? It's like you were mentioning earlier with, you know, trying to just drop in and do downhill. It's that speed and intensity, isn't it, of a downhill run over like multiple different stages. Do you think it's possible for other enduro riders and Richie to actually, you know, be up there and be in contention to win the downhill after doing the enduro? Or do you think it's pretty impossible?
Martin's done it, so
Yeah.
he's the only guy to have a career number in both, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, Richie, it was sick to see him do so well at Poland.
It was mega, wasn't it?
But I think it is a long process, and it's so hard to like everyone just like jumps on that one result. He's there, or it's like also his past results. Like he should be up there, but it's like it is different. It is a different sport in a way, almost.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a long process for the guys, and it's just like waiting that out, and hopefully they will do well. And I think they've got the skills to do well.
Yeah.
For sure. Like they're all great bike riders.
100%.
So yeah, it would be sick for them to do well. I feel like we're all enduro people are rooting for them. We're not slow at all. Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be like we were rooting for the downhillers to do good at enduro, but now it's gone the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think they can do it. Especially like I feel like a lot of the downhill tracks have been the same over the last few years. So like. Yeah. It's super fresh and new to like Richie and Martin.
Yeah.
And they're already doing well. So like next year after having a race on like a track they've never been on before should like benefit them for the following years.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And, yeah, I think they can do it.
Yeah.
Be sick to see.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. And is the you know, when you've been at the races, I know you're all busy and on different schedules, but do you get to interact with many of the downhillers and discuss the different races and stuff, or are they kind of doing their thing and you guys are doing your thing?
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of doing our own thing. We're good friends with like Phoebe Gale and that, so we go around and see her.
Flash new pits.
Yeah, she showed us around the new track.
Pretty impressive, is it?
Yeah, it's sick. So like we do what we can just to like go and see them all and see what the vibe is. But we're normally just in our vans. Like,
you've got a slightly different setup to that one, have you?
Yeah, just slightly.
Yeah, we've not got quite a bougie setup. We've just got the van trying to sneak into get a shower in the river or something.
Yeah.
So
keeping it real.
Yeah, big time. But it's cool being around all the downhillers, just seeing them cut around and stuff. But I mean, there is almost a divide in a way. Like now it is like there's only the top guys in a way, because it is like that top 30 rank. Then there's only the team people. There's a lot less privateer downhillers. You notice that in the car parks when you're staying in the vans and stuff. It's only kind of the enduro riders are there,
right?
And all the downhillers are the guys on the teams and stuff.
Right.
So this last year has been different than it has been in previous years. Yeah.
Fair enough. And speaking of Phoebe, obviously she's trying to make it. She's close to getting up to the podium level in the downhill and stuff. Do you guys still get out riding with her much up here and training together and stuff?
Yeah, we like ride, go to the same gym, and like through winter we're like training and stuff quite a lot with each other. She has a pretty busy schedule through summer, but we do what we can just to like hang out and do ride and whatnot.
And are you able to, you know, help her with, you know, some of her downhilling and, you know, what she's, you know, up against at the in the women's level? I mean, the women's level's super tight as well now, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd like to think we can like help.
Definitely,
I
sure,
think
sure
so.
you can.
Like I've grown
Yeah.
up with Phoebe, like, because I've been to school with her like every year since I've been at school. She only lives across the road.
Yeah.
And we used to like say to her, "Oh, if she doesn't do this drop, you're never gonna win a race again." So we just force her off this drop. So
basically bullying her into
pretty much, yeah. She just, if she.
No, look at her though.
Yeah, she's doing well. We bullied her into
yeah.
like almost winning races now. So yeah, we just bully her a little bit more, and hopefully she will be on the top stand.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think 100% if she was like at the time to, you know, and you guys at the time for her just to follow you guys down the trails all the time, and you know that's gonna pull her on so that when she's against the fastest women, she's already going at the speed that she needs to win.
Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of the track and we'll look around and we'll be like, oh, she's literally right there. So it's like she's not going slow, and all the women are going insanely fast at the minute. Like that run of Gracie's at Linville.
Yeah.
I watched the GoPro. I fully thought it was a men's GoPro.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what the hell? Like just genuinely, they're going insane speed now.
Yeah, it's mad. I mean, I was watching the US outdoor motocross, and the other weekend, they must have had enough TV time or whatever. They put the women's they just had one moto after the 250 and 450, so the track was blown to pieces. I don't know if you saw it, and I was like, oh, let me see, you know, how, you know, because you see the downhill and how the women are compared to the men, and so I wanted to see what the motocross was like, and it blew me mind. I think they were easily at the level of the downhill women, if not even above. Like there was a huge like triple step up on the track that, you know, even some of the guys were only just getting, and I think the top 4 women all hit it after a few laps. I was like, wow, it's impressive. Like,
Are you on the Jet or Tomac camp?
Well, I like Jet because he's the new era and he's like, you know, amazing, but I still root for Tomac because, you know, he's a bit more old school, and I used to race against his dad.
Oh, really? Classic,
What about yous?
He's a big Jet man.
No lock screen on my phone.
And he's got the style. And
yeah, I've got style. Like he just rocks into the pits. Wearing the coolest clothes. But he wins as well.
Yeah.
That's what I need to figure out.
You're close. Sorry, you're close.
Nah, I'm a big Jet fan. And it's insane how easy he makes it look.
Yeah.
Like
he's incredible, isn't he? What about Deegan? What's your thoughts on Deegan?
I like I like the attitude, but at the same time I'm just like, I don't know, we're like quite like, I feel like laid back and like a bit more humble, and he's just
He's humble.
Nah, not quite, it is sick, and he is a mad rider, but I feel like I'm more
insane,
more on the probably Levi kitchen.
Yeah, I like him, We're me and Maya are big fans of the Cowboy though.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, he's going well at the minute.
Yeah, real well, yeah.
Yeah, Passenger's sick.
So, talking about those, so we've got Deegan, Jet, Tomac. Who would you think relate to them most in the downhill enduro kind of world? You know, who's Jet, who's Tomac?
I would say Jet and Jackson, just because they're new. Then like
style wise,
Tomac, like a Loy.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
What?
Deegan.
Need some like.
He has to be some junior that's wild.
Because I'm a bit out of the loop on the down. Some of the juniors are insane, aren't they now?
Max, Tyler,
on a bike,
Max,
really good,
Till. You know, obviously, and then you've got Ollie and that Tyler. He's insane.
Yeah.
Is there anyone like sometimes you get some juniors that are a bit cocky before they get humbled a little bit? Is there anyone like that on the circuit at the minute?
Don't know if there is. Obviously, like Jackson's been in that limelight quite a bit. He is kind of like a Deegan in a way, like being in that limelight from quite a young age, and he is like
Not giving out the mid-air like
no, that would be sick.
I'm getting mug shots and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I think everyone's too nice and like.
Everyone's nice. And
Because it's not a head-to-head sport, is it?
Yeah, they're all hugging at the finish line.
like cheering for each other.
Yeah, it's always like, bro.
Yeah.
Well done for smoking me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different vibe.
It'd be cool if we get that in the sport.
Yeah, I think it's good competition and a bit of rivalry is good, isn't it?
It is. I guess that's why Deegan and that are doing it though. Like when you seen like the press conference, like it looked like him and like Levi are actually they're sound, but they're just doing it for the publicity and get.
Yeah, I think obviously
he's
getting influenced by people as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know them personally, so I can't really speak. But you know, his dad was one of the original Metal Militia like attitude dudes and stuff. But you know, I actually. You know, when the crowd start booing him, he's still a young kid. Like that's got to be like pretty tough mentally, you know, to deal with. I know he like brushes it off, but it can't be good for you. That like,
not even like some of the comments and stuff you see on Instagram, and I don't know how they actually deal with that.
No,
they're pretty ruthless. Some of the fans.
Yeah, and we, you know, even ourselves, you only see like the finished product on the screen. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, do you? But yeah, and so do you know, I always try and relate mountain biking to some of the other sports. I guess like the downhill's a little bit similar to the supercross and the motocross in like the coverage and stuff. I get like I love watching the highlights for the Moto GP Enduro and the hard Enduro and stuff. I guess, you know, mountain bike Enduro is more similar to that because you can't film the whole race. And some of those you know, the coverage of some of those events is really good. Do you think that Warner Brothers has improved the coverage for Enduro, or do you think they can improve it anyway? And if so, how would you like to see it going?
Well, you get all this. Well, like WRC is probably pretty close.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need to probably more look at that, like as like what they're doing for coverage, because it is exactly the same stage-wise racing. But like personally, I think the intentions are there at the minute, and like obviously everyone's really involved. But like the way the raws are done for the videos, it's like I kind of preferred the old style of like the commentary and stuff behind it, because like personally speaking for myself, I would have got a lot more coverage lately from the races, because unless you're there, you're only kind of getting what I've like result wise off Instagram in a way, you know, like where if they were speaking about it in the video and like telling the story, it's hard to like tell that story
definitely
on that video. But I think their plan was to obviously get the quick video raw out. And the comments on it, people seem to be loving how fast the production is of it, and then that's what the series is about, this new Grit and Glory series, which is a Drive to Survive,
which is what it needs
series, which definitely what I think what it needs, and it shows a bit more behind the scenes, which is Enduro. So hopefully they know what they're kind of doing with that. In the first year is actually gonna tell the stories of what's happening, and because I mean there is so many different stories with it, and a race is different, but I think their intentions are there and it's great. It would be nice to maybe see a bit more, like I don't know like how much money they're really putting into it production wise, maybe having a bit more filmers, like dedicated filmers towards that series, and filmers that are just doing the race, because then you could probably spend a whole day with an athlete and then tell a whole story instead of maybe just a 5-minute chat with an athlete, and then you're not really getting much from them.
No, you need the behind the scenes. You know, you want a bit of a story on, you know, you're coming fourth in the series, so in the program you want to know, people from the outside want to know where you're from, where you live, what your background is, as opposed to, you know, Slav and Alex and everyone else. You want to know the background and how you've got to where you've got to, don't you?
Yeah, and I mean they have been coming around and doing stuff with me, so it's actually been quite good and kind of showing that different van life experience, I think.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to, hopefully they can get that across and just like the van life compared to the pro athletes and stuff. But yeah, I think that's why for the racing, like personally I would like to maybe see the pro stage come back.
Yeah.
In potentially like we could live stream it. If
Well, that
not,
was the
or
original plan, I think.
Something for that, and then that's the first day. And if you know, like I said before, if riders are really get hooked on a rider, the next day they can watch a live timing if they're so invested.
Yeah.
Or wait for the highlight reel that's going to come up maybe 6 hours later.
Yeah.
After the race.
Yeah, because like in Moto GP Enduro they have like them special stages where you can film nearly the whole thing. In the hard enduro they have a prologue, don't they? That's all film and stuff.
It's pretty cool that.
Which gets the fans hyped for the rest of the race, isn't it?
And I think Latuile's got this night stage. Happen.
Yeah.
But that's the last stage. But that would be really cool as like a prologue stage or something. Because that's what they do in a lot of the rally car stuff, like the Monte Carlo and stuff. It's all in the night, and they've got that prologue stage in the night, and it's live streams and stuff. So it'd be sick.
So you're gonna have big light bars on the front of you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know what the plan is for it. They say that they're F1 lights.
So are they going to provide the lights so everyone's got the same lights?
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. I might bring a light out just in case.
Yeah, something like the track's just lit up.
The track's lit up.
Yeah,
so you won't have lights on your bike?
I don't think so.
Right.
No. There's 32 lights, I think, and they're all
track.
on the track. Yeah,
right.
And apparently they're done by people from F1 or something, or F1 lights, supposedly. So
don't wear your tinted goggles out there.
No, I'm more scared on how we're gonna get there in the dark.
Yeah, the transition.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe get onto Exposure or someone, get a light sponsor before.
Yeah.
And then hopefully all the competitors won't make it, and then you've got a bit more advantage.
At least it's in the Enduro, getting in the sticks and adventure rides if we're in the dark and the lights. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you just go out riding here about 3 o'clock in the afternoon in winter, it'll be good training. Pitch black, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I think it's a cool concept that they're doing, and it shows that they're actually wanting to get more involved in enduro by doing something different with the lights and that. So I'm just quite looking forward to seeing what it's like.
Cool. Well, before we wrap it up, because especially when you're talking about people putting their own programs together and stuff, and I guess you guys haven't, you're still young, so probably don't know all the ins and outs of the industry, but have you ever thought about, going to, I've seen athletes at various bike shows over the years, mingling with all the different sponsors and, going and meeting people. Have you ever thought of going to like Eurobike or anything like that? And, when I was running the race team, Eurobike would be the best place to go to speak to people, because you've got, you email someone and you don't even get a reply. Whereas if you sometimes speak to people face to face in a meeting, it's easier to get, across. Have you ever thought of doing anything like that?
No, I've seen a lot of people doing that. Like I've seen other athletes doing that. It would be pretty cool to do, but personally for me, I think I would struggle to walk up to someone at a trade stand and sell myself. So I've never thought, this winter I'll go to Interbike or something. I just do the classic, send out a CV and emails. But like you said, it is so much easier putting a face to the name, and
it's hard to type your personality across it,
That's it. So it would maybe be easier, and you'd probably get more opportunities from doing that. But it's not something I've actually thought about or went to commit to doing.
For you guys, maybe you, Corey, that you're not comfortable with that, do you think would be beneficial in our sport to have more kind of agents that do that for you? Obviously an agent would then take a percentage for doing all that kind of work, but is that something that you think would be beneficial?
Yeah, there's a few agents now, I think, out there doing stuff with athletes. I think that would help, it seems a bit more formal, maybe, and a bit more professional,
Yeah.
rather than just coming from a random email. But yeah, it's just struggling, like, know it works with how much they get, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of hard enough getting budget.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess if they can get you a good enough deal, it evens itself out.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously, Martin Whiteley, who's run many race teams over the years, you know, he also had his own agency, and he's looked after many riders, you know, like, you know, Minar and Aaron Gwynn, and I think he's maybe, does he help out Nico Mullally's team and stuff?
I think so, potentially.
Or he did, so yeah, it's, you know, just something maybe to think about.
I'm guessing like a lot of the top boys are actually on a management now, especially the downhillers, I think.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I remember back in the day, like, you know, I think Steve Peat used an agent at some point, but then, you know, because Steve was quite good at talking to people, and he was so well known in the industry, he maybe didn't need that agent later on, you know, because everyone knew him anyway. So
yeah, I think for the downhill people now, it's also trying to break into that outside sponsorship for them.
Yeah.
The agencies will definitely help towards. But I mean, for ourselves, it's like, we're definitely not people to just go up to someone and try and, I mean, ask for a deal. Just quite shy people. Won't even go up to Ken Roxon for a photo.
Regretting that.
Yeah. I'd rather have that than the $100,000 deal.
But I mean,
But it's just something to, you know, maybe think about, and But most people in the industry are nice and approachable. You know, if you cruise around, you know, Eurobike something and just booked a meeting with whoever and said, look, you know, this is me, nice to meet you, I'm 4th in the world in Enduro at the moment, I'm looking for sponsorship to try and build my program, it's, you know, something maybe worth thinking about doing.
100%.
Yeah. Anyway, well, we'll wrap it up there now, fellas, but thanks very much for coming down, and
thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming on.
We're, you know, stoked to see he's doing well, and keep up the good work, and hopefully both of you be on the podium at Wills, because you know, Will's doing it, you did it you can do it, Corey.
Well, I'll try.
Yeah, just maybe that week, just, you know, you always look cool anyway, so don't worry about that.
Don't worry about the fit.
Do a couple of intervals before you go shopping.
That's the week I need my fit for the parade. Like, everyone's there, filming and photos. That's the race I built to.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You asked me about did you see the pink bike?
The pink bike, salary pay,
Yeah, I kinda, but I didn't look at it like properly, but what was it kind of saying?
Corey's the #1 paid rider.
In Enduro or in the whole sport?
Just about Enduro. Up there with like Brainy, aren't you?
Yeah, it's mad what a top 10 at the last race can do for you. That off season, my CV was just getting fired around everywhere.
It's just the window cleaning now. You know, now you had him on a good wage, but he had when you're on the team, but he had to keep window cleaning because he.
Yeah, our wages weren't good.
He doesn't want to.
Just my savings, that.
Yeah.
So didn't they have a chart or something, and there was like salaries between 10 and 50 grand and 50 and 100, and then it was over 500 grand or something, wasn't
it? Yeah, it showed like how many. It was like obviously, I think there's like.
It was like, was it percentages?
Yeah, it was and it told it like one rider in Enduro is like 500k.
And that's Corey.
Yeah,
that's me,
So that's just from naked window cleaning. Yeah. just in your big chain. At the old person's home.
They love it. They absolutely love it.
Just chucking tennis through the window at you.
You only need to work one day a week there, and it's
whatever pays the bills, lad.
That's it. Got to do what you got to do.
And what are you just catching all the money well underneath, like a bucket?
That's my job. Be on the ground floor, collect Corey's money.
Just get him to focus on the 20s.
And then I get a fiver at the end of the day.
Does an old deer tuck it in your flipping, in your specialised kegs?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, yeah.
So, so in that list, who do you think, because I saw that and I was thinking, there's no enduro riders on that kind of money, but who do you think would potentially be?
Wow.
Probably Richie second.
Just buys me a close second. Yeah, maybe.
Do you think Yeti's big enough to pay Richie that kind of salary?
Sure, yeah, he's big, but then the team setup's not as big as other things. But he
Must be
deserves
like-
it.
He does, do you
Yeah.
love it?
Yeah.
What
But then
time
also
was
had another 4 riders were over 100, if not 250.
In enduro,
I think
Was
said
it? I
that.
can't really
But
remember.
whereas like,
But-
is that,
Definitely
like,
would
surely
be-
not.
Jack, Jesse,
Jersey,
Don't really like that, like us speaking about salary.
you know, I don't know why. I personally think, you know, if salaries were public, it would give people a bit of a bartering tool, you know, to get to talk about salaries. Like, you know, you go for a job in a bank, and there's a scale in there for what a bank manager would get
So
paid.
I'm on minimum wage from Corey.
You'll be getting over $1 million this
Oh,
year.
will I?
You're top 5. I'm 20th overall, so you can say 20th place is getting 500k.
I'm just
You're-
talking.
you're a
I'm
male.
just talking window.
Well, that's totally separate. wage.
£4 an hour.
Come on, Will sponsors, can you step it up so we're flipping Corey's raking it in here.
Yeah, just raking it in.
Oh, that's
We
funny.
need to get a new camper van this year.
Well, yeah.
A new 16 plate, yeah. Dutch conversion. Nah, it was.
Has it got a set of veneers on the front like the other van?
Nah, I'm hoping it doesn't need them either. Crashed the other van, so hopefully it doesn't need veneers. Nah, the van's sick though.
Good. Yeah, I've not seen your van yet. Is it
No,
pretty
it's-
pimped out?
Yeah, it's
Have you
I'm
got
buzzing.
bunk beds in there? Are you both in there or not?
Nah,
You got your own?
nah.
Yeah, parents.
I see you both balling really. Both got
Yeah.
your own vans.
Nah,
You need
it's
to be
pretty
like
sick.
the amount of tolls that you pay for. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Can you not just join it up in the tolls and
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Oh.
can figure out a system.
But it's fun when you're all with each other in the vans and stuff, and then we're like trying to sneak into the showers and stuff.
Yeah.
I can actually show you a good shower before you go. You might
Yeah.
want to invest.
Oh really?
Yeah, I've hooked a shower up in the back of our van for
Really?
this year's travelling.
Yeah.
Fairly ghetto, but it'll do the job.
No, I'll look at that. My van's pretty basic. Like, there's no fridge or. I've got a hob and a sink.
It's got a toilet though.
God, do you
A
need just
wide neck bottle. You can only number 1 in it though.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
Do you not do what Warner used to do and just have a clay in his footwell and then kick it out?
No, I've not been that desperate.
He did
yet.
that in front of 5 of us in the rain once.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dirty bugger.
I think the squad would be pretty fuming at me if I just
Plus you'd
kicked my clay out into
I'm
the
sure you
pit.
got some white trainers that you might mess up.
Yeah. Can't get that on the drip.
Oh, good fun, good stuff, lads. And then, so who? While we're talking about people, who, you know, when you rode on the team, Corey, obviously you always roomed with Elliot. Was that good and bad at times?
It was pretty good. Like, was a good time.
Yeah.
Like, I've got nothing bad to say. I feel like I used to just follow him around though. like even though out like in the pits and stuff, I would just follow Elliot, but just a little sheep.
He did used to try and take the piss out of you quite a lot, didn't he?
Yeah,
Because you were the
It's not like
new.
Elliot.
No,
Nah, he still just takes the piss out of me.
I think
That
because
is-
we probably abused him that much before you come on the team.
Yeah, just
Got
got
right.
led onto me.
Yeah, because we were the same with Mike Jones, and then Elliot come, and then I think it moved on to him. So, but it's part of being on
Yeah.
You're travelling for so long with each other, aren't you? You've got to take the piss a
Yeah.
little bit on you.
I definitely never took it to heart.
Crying into your washing up.
Yeah.
days.
Just crying on my pillow at night.
Well-
No, we had some good times.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Fun.
It was good.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks very much, and congratulations on both your careers so far, and you've got way more to come. So look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
And if I can ever help you with anything, I'm here, and just reach out. Not that I know
Thank
what,
you.
if I can anymore, but can maybe hook you up with a free T-shirt when we get them, Maya.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thanks very much for your time, and look forward to seeing how you go for the rest of the year.
Cheers. Appreciate it.
Sound.
Thank you.
Well, hope everyone enjoyed that. It's really cool getting Will and Corey into our little studio, and please remember to like, subscribe, and do all that stuff, comments, and don't forget to get your hand in your pocket and buy Maya a coffee for all the hassle she has to go through. So thanks for listening, watching, and we'll catch you next week. Cheers.